go back forgotten Hollywood.
So, folks, I was just telling my guest how she represents part of my generation. Is our generation. When you say things like this, folks, because whenever I bring these movies up, people are like, "Oh, it's such a strong reaction." Night of the Comet, Weekend at Bernie's. Okay, folks, I mentioned that the other day, and everybody, Last Starfighter, and for me, Days Are All Lives. We're going to talk about all of that, of course. And I'm so happy to have her on the show. And she's out there talking to fans. She's doing stuff. And she has this beautiful smile. Katherine Mary Stewart. Hi.
Hello. Hi.
Good to see you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
First of
Thank
all,
you for having me, first of all.
well, how are you doing these days?
I'm doing great.
Yes.
Couldn't be better.
Yeah.
Having a great time.
Yes.
Loving life.
Did you, because back then they didn't have them. Now they have them. All these different cons.
That's correct.
They had back
Yeah.
then. So, you did these movies. You were in various things. Even Days of Our Lives has Day of Days, all these things. Like, it must be a trip to have people go, because you always had fans, but like they're going, now there's this place you can go to and talk about something you did 30 years ago, 25.
Yeah.
Like, what is that like?
Oh, yeah, it's amazing. I mean, I've done quite a few of them, but when I first started back in, the mid 2000s, guess, no, later. But I didn't know what to expect, and I was
Right.
very, very nervous. And I thought, who cares about me and these little movies that I did so long ago? And so when I showed up for my first one, I was just like in awe. I mean, I couldn't believe it. People were actually interested in meeting me. They loved these movies that I loved, but I didn't realize sort of the impact that they had had on people. And it's really incredible to meet people at these conventions and the stories that they tell and the history they have with the little movies that I did and how much they love them. And it's really it's incredible the foundation that these movies have created.
I always think, it's always the next generation or two when they discover something like this,
Yeah.
they bring it up. That's where these cons things come up. My kids, who are all millennials, believe it or not, I know I look young myself, but I'm not millennial. Um, no, but they're the ones where when they were kids on the VCR and then DVD, we would play these movies over and over again at home.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
loved them. You talked about them
Yeah.
at home with your friends. It'd be all the parents circle like we saw Weekend at Bernie's like 5 times this weekend. We did too. Like you all talk about it, but now there's a platform. It must be such a. I just figured it was supposed to be a trip. You're like, I did this movie a long time ago. It did what it did, and they really do care about your character. People are like, they really care about your character.
Yeah, they do. It's really amazing. And what's so nice for me as the actor is not only is it really cool to have people respond in the way they do, but it's really neat being able to meet these people too. We didn't have access to the audience the way we do now at conventions. And that's really eye-opening and wonderful. And I've never met anybody at any of these conventions that weren't the most lovely, gracious people.
Yeah.
So I love it.
And a lot of them want to talk about your work, which is
Yeah.
isn't that crazy as an actor? You're like, that's all my work, sure. I'm sure you have to
Uh,
sometimes go, I don't remember everything, but I'm sure they stretch your imagination to go back and say, remember that scene you did? I'm sure, right?
Absolutely, they do. They really draw your attention to the things that stood out for them, and there can be a commonality in that too. Um, but oftentimes, actually, these fans they know more about me than I do.
Isn't that crazy?
Certainly more about the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? It's like that's so I guess that's crazy. So, um, when you started in the business, what drew you to acting? Like, I don't know. I know some of your story, but I don't know fully your story. Like, what drew you to this crazy business? It's a crazy business, folks. It just is. What drew
Yeah.
you to acting?
Luck, really. Just being in the right place at the right time. I was always very interested in performing, but I was a dancer. I trained as a dancer for years and years, and when I graduated from high school, I decided to do more of that in London, England. And I went to a performing arts school, sort of focused on dance, but they also taught acting. I mean, I took acting all through high school as well. I was one of those like kids that were always performing something.
Yes.
And so they taught acting and singing and dance, every kind of conceivable dance you can imagine. We did accents. We did also it was very foundational in terms of performing, and that was in London, England. And it was there that I happened to go to a dance audition for this movie. I ran into a couple of classmates that were going, and I thought, well, just tag along, see what this is all about, this audition thing. And I ended up being cast in the lead role. I mean, it was crazy. The chances of that, who knows the chances? I don't
Yeah, I
know
mean,
anything
one in a
about it.
billion, like one in a billion.
I know, it was crazy. I mean, I was doing this dance audition, and the director thought I looked right for the lead role. So he asked me to read, and I did, and I ended up getting the role and shooting this movie in Berlin, Germany, and other places in Germany and a little bit in London as well. And it sort of started me on the path to taking the acting thing really seriously.
So you were a young adult, obviously, or were you a teenager or a young adult at this point?
I think I was about 19 or 20,
Yeah.
so right on the cusp there.
Yeah. Let
Still
me ask
pretty
you,
young.
let me ask you a question though, because isn't dance also a form of acting?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. I mean, I felt definitely equipped, especially the discipline side of it. I mean, there's dance is an it's hugely disciplined. I mean, I can't tell you how hard we work. Or I did. I used to work as a dancer just to get everything perfect. And then if you're dancing with a group of people, you have to be so perfectly in sync, and you work so hard to get to that point where you can perform something. Um, so after that training, everything else was kind of like cake. It was like, this is easy. This is nothing. But also, as you say, it is performing. You're performing as a dancer, as a character.
Yeah.
You're telling a story. You're just not saying the words, you're telling the story through your body movement. So absolutely contributes 100%. And I have to say, I used to listen to actors complain about acty things, and I'm like, oh, you have no idea what hard work is. So that it was great. It was a fantastic preparation for me, for sure.
Were you ready to go over to? You're so young. I mean, we're so fearless when we're young. Are you ready to go over to Europe? I mean, you were in Europe. I mean, I mean,
Yeah.
what culture shock?
Well, yeah, but I've been to England a few times before. I have a lot of relatives in England. And I was fortunate enough as a kid to travel quite a bit with my family. So it wasn't that intimidating to me. In fact, London was a pretty safe choice in a way.
Okay, yeah.
But we had traveled all over the world, as I had with my family, and so it was sort of in my wheelhouse. It's definitely a different culture for sure, and you have to adjust to that. But I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah. Once they were young, fearless. This guy just go.
Young, exactly. Young, naive, stupid, fearless, all that stuff.
What are those
You
words you
have
would use? Yes, what are those words you would use?
you have no idea what potentially could happen or
No,
anything like that. You just go for, at least I did. I was just like,
I did too.
yeah, like, yeah, you just kind of go for it. I mean, having children yourself, though, it's like, oh my God.
Yes. Oh,
Oh, it's a whole other thing when you're watching your own children go through the same thing.
yes. That is very true. I'm like, there are things that I would never allow them to do that I did back in. And plus, I always say a different time. My kids joke, it's a different time.
Yeah.
It's a different time on some level. But no excuses. But I would say, yeah, I would never let them do certain things I did.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that. I got run down.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I try not to think about it too much. I think my husband is more concerned about all that stuff. I'm just like, my parents got through it somehow. I'm just going to trust that we gave them enough knowledge, worldly knowledge, to be smart about stuff.
That's the most. Everyone survives mostly. That's the most for the most.
Usually they survive, yes.
Yeah, they survive. Usually, like that. I want to talk about Weekend at Bernie's first because that is such an iconic. I mean, iconic. I mean, it really is. I mean, it's just this, and I mean, it was a hit. It's this comedy, and like I said, I bring it to people who are around my age recently, and they all have a very visceral, happy memory about it. Loved it.
Yeah.
So, as you look back on that film, did you know? Wait, you probably didn't know, but did you feel you were doing something really? Was it fun to do that film? And did you like think this could be a hit? I don't know. Some projects you can tell, some you can't tell. But like, did you? What did you think?
I don't think I've ever really been able to tell or even really thought about it. You know, you sort of do the work and you do the best work you can. And sometimes you feel really good about the work, and sometimes you feel really crappy about the work.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, But with Weekend at Bernie's, it was funny because I mean, my role wasn't that huge in it. I really, when I auditioned for it, I was thinking this would be a very good thing for me to do right now because I'd never really done a comedy. I mean, Jonathan Silverman would I'd be playing opposite him and Andrew McCarthy, and I. But when I read the script, I was like, how is this funny? Dragging this dead guy around. That's what hit me. I was like, especially the scene where he goes flying up the back of the motorboat and they hear the him hitting the buoys and they're like, "What's that noise?" I was like, "This is horrible."
You
And
see,
of
I'm
course,
laughing right now. I'm picturing you, and I'm just like,
I know that became like one of the most iconic scenes in the
right,
whole thing.
right.
So what do I know? I didn't have my finger on the pulse, apparently. It was so outrageous in a way that it struck a nerve. I think people just it was I think at the time it was sort of unusual to see something that kind of craziness on screen in that playful sort of way. I mean, there were things like Animal House or something like that, but I mean, this was taking physical comedy to a whole new level.
Did it? That's what it was. It was, and it was the dead body thing. It was not being done anywhere else.
I
It
don't
was,
think it was
it
making
was
fun of a dead body, and that's what I couldn't quite wrap my head around at first. But you know what I have a theory is that if it hadn't been Terry Kaiser who played the dead body, Bernie, it might not have been as successful because he really did work hard to create a character. And how unusual is that around a dead body? You know
yeah.
what I mean? It was like when he was on screen, you just looked at Bernie because
I
he
got you right.
just
You're
the
right.
sort of the subtle kind of expressions and just the I mean it was he was a dead body, but there was still incredible physical comedy going on.
I never thought of it right. You're right because literally there's no dialogue.
No.
You're. I mean, you have to convey. You have to use your acting skills.
Yeah, 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 yeah. We sort of had a reunion weekend at Bernie's thing at a convention not too long ago, and he was talking about how he realized that, you know, he's got to do something besides just being dead.
Yeah, makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah.
Right. And also, there was a lot of sort of improvisation. You know, Andrew tells a story about another classic scene when they're sitting by the pool and the chaise lounge, you know, and playing, I don't know, I think it was Monopoly, which apparently it was Andrew's game he brought it that day,
Oh my
and
god,
they
how
set it all
funny!
up. And he had the idea of tying the string on Bernie's hand and
Yeah,
waving to everybody. And then he took a fly swatter, and that was his idea, apparently,
oh
which is brilliant. I mean, it's brilliant.
oh, yeah, yeah. Wow, that's a trip. That is a trip. Yeah, he had to play because like on other shows you play dead. It's like just laying there. You just lay there, don't blink, that whole thing. But this
Yeah,
he was moved around so much. That whole choreography of the
yeah.
guys, it's amazing. No, it is amazing. And I don't think physical comedy gets enough respect.
Hmm.
We had great actors like John Ritter, who of course did stuff on Three's Company, or or just who just did this great. Robin Williams. There's people who did great physical comedy. Dick Van Dyke. They were
Yeah.
good at that, tripping and falling, and it's like there is a whole thing, there's a whole science behind that actually.
Oh, sure, absolutely. It's all about timing, and you have to be pretty physically fit as well and flexible and all that other stuff, but you have to have really incredible comical timing and physical timing, like kind of the marrying of the two.
Do you think
Comedy.
you have good physical time, good comedy timing?
I
You've done both comedy and
think
drama. You like both?
sometimes.
Yes.
I mean, I make my husband laugh, so
Hey,
that's
there you
good.
go. I like that. You make me laugh. I like that so far. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's funny because if you think too hard about being funny, then you're not going to be funny. You have to really, really trust your instincts and just go for it. Um, so, I think that I, I don't know. I think I have my moments, put it that way. I mean,
Well,
if somebody said to me, "Be funny," I don't think I would have such a
that makes sense.
good time being funny.
I'm saying when you've chosen scripts over the years, or getting scripts offered, um, when you look at it, one's a comedy or one's a drama or an action or whatever. I just wonder if you have a different approach when you're going into it.
Um, I don't. Well, I mean, you have to take into consideration what the
Oh,
foundation of a thing is, obviously. But it's all about creating a character and making it as honest and believable as you can, no matter what it is, no matter what the genre, really. Um, and yeah, you have to dig into different parts of your own personality to be honest in a character. No matter how different the character might be from who you are in real life, there's always a bit of you in there somehow. You know what I mean? So it's a process. I would say no, I don't approach every character the same way when I'm thinking about how I'm going to portray it, but it's the same sort of process given the genre, I guess.
okay.
If that makes sense.
But no, wait, that makes total sense. So it does. And here's my follow up question with that is: do you have to like your characters?
Oh no. In fact, it's more fun if you don't like the character. Oh, that's what's fun. If
Really?
this character is just a nice regular person, it's like, okay. I mean, it that can be challenging too, but it's really fun having a character that you really don't like at all, because that's an interesting preparation as well.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because to make a bad character or evil character evil or bad, there's got to be something about them that the audience is sucked into liking. So that when the real personality is revealed, they're angrier because they've been taken advantage of, sort of a thing, which happens, most evil people come across can be very, very charming, sort of a thing, until you realize, no, this person is a bad, bad, bad person.
What do they always say that the villains are always the heroes in their own story.
Oh, sure. Villains never think of themselves as a villain. Like you said, that's what you're saying basically is they think they're the victims.
Yeah.
They feel misunderstood. And they're just great people, just trying to get through the day like everybody else. Because everybody else wants to murder psychotically people.
I'm just an innocent person trying to get through the day. You guys all
Yeah, exactly. Just because I like to dismember people, everybody has their thing.
everything. It's my hobby. Good. I really. Okay. So you did a horror comedy. One of mine, I like Night of the Comet.
Yeah,
I
thank
would
you.
say doing a horror comedy is a fine line also because it can be too comedic where it becomes the parody or
Hmm.
not horror enough. So how do you feel about that, your whole performance and how that movie came out?
I think Night of the Comet is really one of the most unique ones that I'd ever done. Um, I feel like it crosses so many genres, and I think it crosses them really successfully. Part of it is, well, part of, in my opinion, part of any successful thing is that the people who are doing it have to go in with in incredible integrity and honesty. And Tom Everhart, who wrote and directed it, this was his baby. He loves apocalyptic movies. He loves movies that are about the end of the earth and that kind of a thing. And given that love of his, he decided to interview a couple of teenage girls to ask them the question if they ended up like Reg and Sam, I mean, what would they do?
Right.
And if you in a cliche way, people would be like, oh, these poor young girls, they're all going to be freaking out and they don't know what to do. They're going to have to find some man to take care of them and all this other stuff. Well, the response he got when he asked these girls was, oh my God, that would be fantastic. You mean no parents around? What
Right.
would we do? We would go shopping at the mall, of course,
Right.
because we don't even need to use a credit card. So that I think was the seed to this whole idea of these characters. And then he sprinkled in the zombies. And, there was an element of uh, scariness to that.
Of
He
course.
didn't, it wasn't like they were silly zombies, they were flesh eating killer zombies, you know? And then the whole idea about people who weren't, affected directly were slowly dying, and that came into it. And then sort of the mystery of whether or not the girls would die slowly
Right.
too. I really feel like he did such an incredible job of balancing all the genres from the comedy to the sci-fi with the comet to the horror or whatever, the zombie horror element to the Valley Girl thing. I mean,
Yes.
to the Christmas movie part.
Yeah. 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 Totally. No, totally. And I think, I totally. Oh my God, I totally. The Valley Girl
Well,
thing.
I tell you,
Oh my God, I'm from LA. I went to Sherman Elementary School, so I know all about the Valley. Um,
there you go.
there you go. So I love it. So I just want to say, I was going to bring it up next. It's the sisters. It's the whole. That's my time period. I'm like, that's like I said, that to me was exactly like going to the Shamrock South Galleria back in the day. Like that's
Yeah,
felt for me. That's like a lot of us liked it because we could watch it and insert ourselves. Like, what would we do if it was me, and my
right.
brother, or me and my sister, or like that's what I felt like it was. I felt like it was.
Yeah, fantastic. That's fantastic. That's to me what is kind of the magic of a movie. If the audience can relate to it or put themselves or want to be in that position. I mean, that's what you want to get across. Otherwise, it's just forgettable. It's like a bunch of noise and a bunch of action and a bunch of stuff coming at your excuse me at your face, and you don't really remember it. You just were, I mean, maybe you got excited or maybe whatever, but it's so important to have characters that the audience can relate to.
Yeah, I love it. I would talk about the Last Starfighter in a second, but I want to actually talk about Days of Our Lives.
Okay.
I would talk about you were the original Kayla.
I
I,
was.
Woohoo! I know
My
Mary Beth
claim to
Evans cover
fame.
pieces. I remember you on the show. Like, you were the original.
Mhm.
And I always like to ask people who are on soaps several questions. So I ask this.
Okay. All right.
One
I'm
is
ready.
one is I know. That is I saw your
What
picture.
is
Did it with Peter Recklice that I posted recently. Um, okay, so soap operas are daily, pumped into homes daily. Especially back then, there was no cable really. Well, cable was young. There wasn't
okay,
really,
what was that?
there were no streaming channels. There's no social media. There was the National
No.
Enquirer or whatever. But there's some soap magazines, of course, like some of our digest those. So,
Right,
what
right,
was it like for you, firstly, getting a job on a soap opera? Was that considered a step? I mean, just saying back then, soap operas were always treated like stepchildren, so to speak. Was it like, were you like excited because it was just a gig, or were you like, oh, it's a soap opera? Like, what was your first thoughts when you got on it?
Mhm. Oh, no, I was so excited because I'd done the Apple. And I decided to move to LA and see what would happen. I wasn't yeah. I was at that stage in my life where it was like, yeah, I'll see what happens. I wasn't thinking, oh, I've got to be an actress. I've got to be a movie star. There was not
So
that
you
much
weren't
at
that way. So you weren't that way. You were just like, I'm gonna.
no.
Okay.
There wasn't that much at stake. I was just kind of going with the flow and I was loving every second of it. I mean, based on the Apple, I got an agent and then they started sending me out and I did some episodic junk and then but I was kind it was a bit hand to mouth. I had to borrow some money from my parents. And so when I got Days of Our Lives, a regular paying job, it was kind of like a coup. I was like, oh, thank God, because I don't know how much longer I could have survived, frankly, out there. So no, I was so happy to get it. But it was a lot of work.
That's my next
Soap
question.
operas are hard work,
Tell it,
man.
girl. Tell it. I was gonna say that's my next question. The pacing,
Yeah.
dialogue,
Oh,
the pages. I mean, girl,
yeah.
the pages. The pages.
The pages, so much. So if you think about a movie, for instance, say, especially back in the day, they were usually about an hour and a half, and it would take a couple of months to shoot a movie, an hour and a half show, 2 months. A soap opera, it's an hour show, you have to shoot in one day. So, especially when you're new and you're just getting used to all the other characters, and you know how soap operas they sort of repeat what was said over and over again, and somehow this new character has to have some kind of knowledge about everything that's been going on. Because I think that oftentimes the soap opera audience wouldn't be able to watch it every single day. They would like miss a couple of days. So when they watched it again, they were caught up because everything was sort of reiterated. Um, that was really hard trying to just learn all the characters' names and who they were and where they fit. And then on top of that, trying to memorize each day all the dialogue. And they shoot 5 days a week, so you don't have a break unless you're not in a show or something. But
Oh,
that was rare. They always would have, even if you didn't have a lot to do, they would have you show up for something or other. So boy, that was challenging. It was very, very challenging. But I have to say, I'm still sort of I milk it that I was the original Brady because when I got on, there was just Roman Brady, my older brother, and I was introduced as the second sibling, and they were establishing this Brady family. And of course, it's still a huge,
yes. Oh yeah.
lineage in Days of Our Lives.
Because you were with Wade Northrop, right? At the time,
That's correct. Yeah.
he rest in peace.
Yeah. Yes.
So you got
He
to
was
work.
a lovely guy.
I also ask you about him because I mean I've heard only great things about him. He did Dynasty, he did
Mm.
Days of Our Lives, he did other things too. So for you, he was he brotherly to you, or you guys like friends? Like how did that work out?
Um, he became actually quite brotherly to me. I mean, I pushed it. He wasn't like trying to be brotherly. I was like, um, we lived fairly close together. We both lived in Topanga Canyon in
Okay,
LA.
yeah, I know it is.
And I remember having this boyfriend, and I had no family. All my family's in Canada, and I asked Wayne to come over and meet this guy just to give me the thumbs up because I knew Wayne was a really, really good guy. So I don't know how he felt about it. He was probably like, "What the heck?" But he was a lovely person. He really, really was.
Yeah. So you guys, so by the time you left, how many Brady's were there by then?
Um, Bo showed up, I believe. Yes, Bo was on, and then
Kimberly, right?
who?
I was saying, maybe she
Kim?
didn't show up. Maybe she didn't show up at Kimberly, your sister. Maybe she.
Oh,
I remember you and Bo.
No, I don't. Just Bo and me, and yeah, no, Kimberly was not there,
But no parents.
and Roman.
Yeah, no parents. Yeah.
Yeah, no
I
parents.
thought. I
Yeah,
remember. No, I remember seeing you and Peter Reckle together, but I couldn't remember if. Oh my God! I got her name all of a sudden. If she had come on yet. So okay. So
the girlfriend, right?
yeah. Oh my God.
Uh,
Oh my God.
I'm blanking too. It's
Oh,
crazy
oh,
because
well,
she's
the
oh
whole yes, Christoph Father,
yes.
girl, yes.
She came on when I was on there, and I remember her showing up, and she was so pretty and this
Oh,
sweet little thing that came out from Chicago or
yeah.
somewhere.
Like, but I think it's Boston.
And
Boston.
what's that?
I think it's Boston. I think.
Oh, Boston, okay. And she was just a lovely, beautiful little thing, very quiet. But yeah, now of course now she's whole for God's sakes.
I got to meet her interviewer, so I that was
Oh,
really
you
she was very
did.
lovely. She was very lovely.
Yeah,
She's tiny.
she's sweet.
She's tiny. Still beautiful,
Yeah.
tiny. I was gonna crush her. I was like, wow.
Tiny, itty bitty. Yeah. Yeah. She's like a sliver of her former self.
And with Peter Reckle, how are you guys?
Great. Oh, he was wonderful. He was a lovely guy too. I mean, I have to say, I'm trying to think who I didn't like on that show. Everybody was really nice and supportive.
Where did you get recognized? Because at daytime, it's every day by regular folks. When you went shopping and stuff, you get recognized.
Yeah.
What's that like?
Yeah. I mean, that was I've got recognized most for Days of Our Lives, which was really weird. I mean, I don't assume that anybody's going to
But
recognize
of
me or
course not. Of
anything.
course, of course.
Yeah, but like in Ralph's or something like
Right.
that, I would be shopping away and notice people looking at me. I'm like, why are they looking at me? And then I'd realize, oh my gosh, the impact of Days of Our Lives is, fairly large. So that was, yeah, and it's a really, really strange feeling. I'm sort of, first of all, living in New York, nobody cares.
Right.
And again, I live in New York, so
Yeah.
um, but it's such a it really is a weird kind of adjustment to make. I mean, obviously, as an actor, you're exposed to everyone, and you wouldn't be there if it wasn't for the audience. So how do you respond to that? I mean, you can't just shut it all down. You have to be grateful for the fact that you're acknowledged or recognized. But it's like this personal space kind of invasion that you don't, I don't know, I didn't expect it, and I'm not really sure what to do about it. I mean, over time, especially with conventions and things like that, but you're there to see the audience. But I feel like I've figured it out more. But you get so many different comments like, "Aren't you somebody?" And I'm like, I think so.
Give
Aren't you
somebody every
somebody?
morning. You gotta give somebody. I think so.
Yeah. Or you'll get things like, did we go to high school together? A lot of that kind of a thing. Um, but it's important to navigate that in a very positive way because you wouldn't be there if it wasn't for these people.
Right. That's the whole thing. And I agree. Like, first of all, I get recognized for a few things here and there in
Oh,
public and
good for
stuff.
you.
And then, like, I'm going to rouse for Starbucks. I'm like, oh, you
Yeah.
got a show for a general hospital. I'm like, yeah, I do. I'm like, how do you, my hair's a crazy, like, what do you, what? It's like 6 in the
Yeah.
morning. But no,
I know. That's the other thing. You're starting to think, God, do I have to go everywhere wearing full makeup?
right, exactly. And hair done. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it is. Because you're right. In New York is such a densely populated working city. Everybody's just doing their jobs, either on
Yeah.
Broadway or over here. Like, nobody cares. You're doing your thing. Where LA, it is about being noticed. It's about being
Yeah.
people
Yeah, it
shove.
is more of that.
It is more
It
about
is more of that. Yeah, LA is all about the industry. Your doctor will say, I have a script. Do you want to read it? Everybody will say that
that.
kind of a thing.
Oh,
That's a
trust me.
classic.
I've had a lot of people say I have scripts. I'm like, oh, don't tell me. I don't have anything. Don't tell me.
Yeah, yeah.
That's right. That's very cool. Okay, so wait, why did you leave James Rise? I don't even know. I don't even know. Why?
They well, I I was fired, basically, I
Oh,
guess.
okay. Because you were there
No,
several
what
years, so I
happened?
wasn't sure what I wasn't
I
sure.
was there for a couple of years, and then they let me go. I guess I wasn't working out the way they wanted me to. But yeah, my last scene was, and I'm not even sure that I knew it was my last scene, but I just moved into my own apartment. Caleb Brady was very
Yes.
young and naive and not worldly at all. And she was getting her new apartment with, I don't even remember who my roommate was going to be. And my last thing was like, I'm going to check out the bathroom upstairs. And I went up the stairs and went through this fake door, and I never showed up again.
I love it. She's still wandering the studio.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
oh
still
my,
where am I? Where's the bathroom?
that would be funny. What's so funny would be you walk through, you come, all of a sudden you walk in somewhere, like, and maybe if that one goes, wait a minute, you look familiar. No,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
potatoes. You're like,
But I was lucky because while I was shooting, finishing up my work on Days of Our Lives, I got the Last Starfighter. And so they overlapped. And so for me, I was so lucky. It was a really easy transition.
well, that's that. Now, here you go. That's my next. That's the thing I want to talk about. Last Starfighter, because that was 1984, folks. So we're talking 40 years ago. Um,
Meh,
I know, isn't that crazy? I'm like, I was there too,
it's
girl. I was
insane.
there. I was
No,
there too.
yeah, yeah.
I wasn't 4 years old, so I mean, I was there. I was 2. But no, but the one thing that's really interesting about this movie, of course, is its early use of CGI.
Hmm.
So I want to
Yeah.
ask you about this film and turn, was there anything that stands out to you filming this particular film compared to some of the others?
Well, when we were shooting the movie, they weren't sure if they were going to use, just regular special effects or this new CGI thing. And I didn't even know about any of this, by the way, while
Oh
we
yeah, it
were
was new.
shooting.
Personally new. Yeah.
Right. I mean, they were creating all these programs for the CGI as we were shooting, and they were on a very limited time frame. Um, so that was going on. So they weren't sure if they were going to use, regular special effects with the models and all that stuff. And for a while, they were pretty sure that they weren't going to do CGI because it was so groundbreaking. They were creating programs as they were going along. They weren't sure. I mean, they weren't 100% sure of how it was all going to come out,
Right.
So as far as I was concerned as an actor, none of this even occurred to me. I didn't have a clue. So we were just shooting like a regular movie. There were some blue screen or green screen. It was funny because Lance has a story about whether it was green screen or blue screen, and I didn't have to do any of that stuff, so I don't know. But there was some of that shooting. But it was for me, it was mostly just in this trailer park, so it was just a regular movie shoot.
But did you see
But
it later and go, oh my God, they really put it together? Probably for you.
well, yeah, it was very, very different in the day, and it was groundbreaking. And what you see today really grew from from that kind of special effects. Everybody talks about Tron, which was around the same time, had that CGI, but it wasn't nearly as complex as what they were trying to do in The Last Starfighter. And the technicians on that complain about the fact that they really didn't have enough time to refine it in the way that they wanted to. But you know what? Talk about nostalgic. I mean, you look at that and you realize that the CGI you see today came
Oh,
from
yeah,
this humble little
right.
place.
From how far we've become, how far we've come from.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
leaps and bounds. The
Hmm.
last thing I want to talk to you about, because I have I'm a sucker for
Yes.
musicals and
Okay.
musical movies. I'm also a sucker for a dystopian musical movie.
Oh,
You mentioned
we
it for
can't get enough of those.
hanging up with those. I mean, you said it a little bit ago, The Apple.
The apple.
my mother likes stuff like that, and that's how I saw it through her.
Oh wow.
She was
I
always into
ooh,
anything that was kind of off center or whatever. She would find these movies, and I grew up by her
that's
side watching. It was
hilarious. I
hilarious.
love that.
I mean, it started out years earlier with like Soylent Green and like I
Yeah.
said the theater. Like all these just movies are just like a little off, just a little off, but they're fun. They're so much
Yeah.
fun, and I remember the Apple, and so I just wanted to ask you about that experience because it was just like, because there you are, there's dancing, there's singing, there's other stuff going on. I mean,
There's
like
lots of stuff going
lots of stuff
on.
going on. So like, that's all like, so how was it for you?
Right. I mean, well, I was, training in dance in
Right,
London,
right,
and I auditioned for this movie as a dancer. And I tagged along with. I didn't even. This was
right.
not in my schedule for the day. I just tagged along with some other people. I thought, oh, I'll try that.
Yes,
And I was pulled out of that dance audition, and it was a cattle call. There had to be 200 dancers there, but the director pulled me out and asked me if I could act, and I was like, of course. And I read for it, and I ended up getting this lead role in this really
right,
weird,
yes.
futuristic rock musical,
Right.
and set in way in the
Oh
future,
way.
1994.
No, I love it. I know.
We shot it in 1979, I think.
Right.
So that
Out the way. Yeah.
seemed like
Yeah.
their imagination probably was a little over the top, but in terms of what people wore and did and all that other
Yes.
stuff. But
Yes.
I had so much fun doing
Okay.
that movie
Good.
because I didn't, I had no idea what to expect. I'd never done anything like that before. I, it was sort of a leap of faith in a way. But this is what I was also thinking of when I said movies that have some sort of impact start with integrity. Initially, there's a whole bunch of integrity involved with making a movie that works. And you could argue about the apple, but going into it, the sincerity behind the people who did it, Menachem Golan and Yoram Globus, this was going to be their breakthrough movie
Okay.
into the American film market. And there had been a bunch of musicals, Rocky Horror Picture Show, Xanadu. I don't know, goes on and on. That was the late 70s. The 70s were the era of
It
musicals,
was Grease
rock
and
musicals.
Grease. Right.
Yes, yes.
That's true. Yeah.
And they felt like they had, just figured it all out. But I mean, you have to watch the movie
I love
because
how you like take a pause. I'm like, how do I describe it to people? I don't know
I
how to
don't know
describe
how
it.
to describe it. But um, it was so much fun to shoot. And it was like living in this surreal fantasy world of craziness. But everybody involved was very, very nice and some really talented people involved. Vladek Sheval, Joss Ackland. Um, there were these English musicians that were very, very well known, Alan Love and oh gosh, her name's now slipping from me, but almost had it there.
I remember.
Um, yeah. Really a talented group of people involved with it, and even the people behind the music, um, they really were trying to make a big Hollywood movie that was going to be successful. And there was just something, there was a chip missing there somewhere, but it has this massive cult
Yeah,
following.
I know it does. Yes.
It really does. And I want to believe it's because there was such integrity behind it initially that you feel that somehow in amongst the craziness.
Like, I get what you're saying. What you're saying, basically, what you're saying is basically that everybody went in to make this really great film. Their heart
Exactly.
to it, and
There
it
was
was trying something, right?
Yeah. And there was money involved. They had the money and for the sets. And I mean, you could debate, and argue about it all day long. That initially going in, the idea was to make a really good film.
No, seriously, that totally makes sense to me. To me, it does. And I think, but see,
Yeah.
films that we love are cult classics. They're cults for a reason. I think there's a through line with a lot of your films. They're just being
Hmm.
loved by segments of people. So
Hmm.
then
Yeah.
you did do your job, so to speak.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you. I hope so.
Right? You know what I
I've
mean?
certainly tried.
You know what I mean? Like you're going for a career. You're just acting. You're doing it for a career. You were hired
Hmm.
to do these projects. You did them, and for some reason, they're for whatever reason, a myriad of reasons, they're sticking with certain people. So it means it did land, and
Yeah.
you did your job. Like you did your job. So
Yeah. Yeah.
you're proud of
I
that.
mean, I think it's also the set of circumstances as time goes by too. I feel like, things like The Last Starfighter and Night of the Comet and others, even Weekend at Bernie's, they sort of hit during the VHS time. And so many kids would watch these VHS movies after school or whatever. And then they would watch them over and over and over again. And they were the kind of movies that the parents were comfortable letting their kids watch. So we hit a nice little sweet spot there. And these are the people that we're so impacted by it as children or kids or teenagers or whatever, or young adults, that carry this passion on through time and then try to pass it down to their kids. So I feel like I was lucky landing in that little sweet spot. They didn't necessarily do great at the box office, but they did really well on rentals.
Yeah.
And we reaped the benefits of it, if not, well, certainly not financially, but just the fact that they have this longevity.
Yeah, that's true. I have to admit, folks, back in the late 80s, early 90s, going through college, I worked at video stores.
Oh, there you go.
So and one of them,
Fun.
I worked at Music Plus Records, not here anymore.
Nice.
Um,
Most of these places aren't here
they're not even
anymore.
Tower is gone. I worked at Music Plus Records for several years, and there
Mm.
was a couple of video stores outside my college, and it was like that's seriously that's what I'm saying. The weekends you'd rent movies, and you'd
Of
watch
course.
at night you rent movies, and you watch
Yeah.
like there was this whole it was so new and fresh. This whole I could rent a movie and watch that
Yeah.
over and over or buy it.
That felt so accessible, didn't it? It's like I could just go and rent a movie
Yes,
and remind to rewind or
that's like be
whatever.
kind. Yes,
Be kind and rewind.
yeah, be
Yeah.
kind rewind. That's what it was. And it's funny. So I just saw a short documentary the other day that DVD sales are going back up.
Oh, oh, interesting.
Media people are you get DVDs for like players for like $20 now, but they're like
Yeah.
they're saying along with vinyl and cassettes and stuff, people are wanting physical media again. So I don't know what that means
Yeah.
really, but it's like that was kind of cool. It's like that's kind of cool. I mean, I don't think
Yeah.
it's going to open up again, but just it's kind of like
Yeah.
people are looking for it. Well, there's also not everything's on streaming.
Oh, that's true. I mean, how much can they put on streaming at a time? I miss that though, when you say the physical media thing. I mean, having something tangible in your hand is, for instance, especially for music, I feel like. I remember going to Tower Records and going through all the vinyl and picking out an Eagles album and then playing it over and over and over again and knowing every song on the A side and the B side
Yes.
and really feeling like you knew this band. And now, my kids, they just whatever it is that
Yeah.
they I don't even know how they know the words to songs. There's so much out there. They just, you know, listen to stuff randomly. There was something about listening to a whole album and knowing it really well. I miss that so much. I really do.
My great niece, grandniece, she's 11 and got her
Mhm.
first record. And so we bought her a record player. They're not expensive. And like
No, I know.
so she got a first record. I don't know who the person is. I was like, but I was very proud of her. But I was talking to her mom. I remember when you were her age, and I bought you a
Yeah.
Spice Girls record. And I bought you the Spice Girls on CD.
Love it.
And we were
Oh,
laughing.
that's
I just remember that. I took you to the store, the tower probably, and said, "What do you want? they got two CDs, and one was the Spice Girls. I remember that. It's just
Oh,
like
I love it.
all full circle to me to watch your daughter is has an album. Well, I go there of all things.
I
Um,
know.
he's next to Gen Alphas, the Gen and Gen Betas. Like, what are they gonna do with music? It's like, are they grew up with streaming? They all like they
Yeah,
grew up with this. But I'm like I like it. I just it takes me back
I
really.
do too. I do too. I do too. I still have, like, I do download music, but for the most part, I do the whole album. If there's a song that I really like off an album, if I don't download the whole album, I feel like I'm robbing myself somehow. So I still, I'm not with Apple Music, but I do have iTunes and I can buy albums. And that's what I do. I buy them and then I have them on my computer and I'll listen. If I want to listen to a whole album, I can,
No,
you know?
no.
Yeah.
So when you look, so overall, I can talk to you forever, but overall,
Yes.
when you look back at your career, what do you think? Like, what do you, I mean, like, now we're doing this kind of reflective thing. Like, okay, well, I've been doing this for a long time, and you've had varying degrees of success in various different mediums, different
Yep.
countries. So, what
Yep.
what do you think? I mean, do you think, wow, I did this, or do you like, wow, this is
Mm.
crazy, or wow, I was like, what do you think?
I am so grateful for everything that I've been able to do, and that I've had the opportunity to do the things that I've done. Mostly it's just gratefulness. It's so much fun. It's so much fun talking to people like you about stuff. And it's really cool that some of the work that I've done is still kind of relevant in a way. Um, I'm proud of everything that I've done. There's nothing that I've done that I'm really embarrassed about or regret doing. And that's important, I think. I
Important.
mean, because it would be a drag to like have done something and been embarrassed on whatever level it is. Um, it's really it's been a beautiful life experience, life in general. I'm I have to say these days in terms of the film industry, I'm a little bit disillusioned. It's not as much fun as it used to be. I mean, I'm still auditioning for things all the time, but I used to love going into an office and meeting the director and the producer, even the casting director, and doing my thing and then getting adjustments and actually having some physical contact with people. And you just don't have that anymore since COVID, when nobody could do that. What happened was sort of a result of that was the people involved in casting and producers and everything realized how much money they could save by not having to have a physical space and how many more actors they could look at, and they don't have to do anything. Well, they do something. I mean, they get stuff on tape and then they have to flip through them, but there's zero contact. I just did an audition yesterday and my agent sent it in. I'll never hear anything back unless
Right.
I get the job, I guess. And I hate that. I feel robbed. And I really feel like, why am I even doing this? It's not fun for me. It's not. If it was a situation where I was getting, I do get some offers every once in a while, which is nice. But if I was in the position where I was had the status of being offered something, that might be different. But I really miss the contact, the camaraderie, the even going to an audition and seeing other actors and being
Yeah,
able
yeah,
to catch up and talk. And I miss that so much. And I really think it's robbing the industry in general because for whatever reason,
yeah.
you can go on and on about it. And I hate to be negative about it because kids coming up nowadays, that's all they know.
Right. Self
And
tape.
they like it,
Right.
which is great, good for them. But yeah, I'm getting more into directing, which I love. I've written a couple of scripts, which I also enjoy. I don't mind just sitting in a room by myself doing stuff.
Right.
Um, and I really like the directing because it is so tangible.
Yeah.
You're so involved with the script. You're involved with the actors. I mean, I had a big meeting yesterday with three actors on a movie that I'm doing right now, talking about character, really delving into what I find so interesting about acting. So, I have that, and it makes me very, very happy. It's a lot of work, but I love it. And I want to do more of that, the directing side of things.
I like directing. No,
Yeah.
I just think, there are millions of people going to our industry, and there are millions of people who don't get a chance to act.
Yeah.
For actors,
And
get a chance to act.
that's right. And it's not necessarily the ones that can't act at all.
Right.
It's so much like for me just getting into it in the first place. It's like so much luck involved, being at the right place at the right time, being prepared when the opportunity happens is very important. But yeah, there's a lot of people out there wanting to do it.
Yeah.
And good luck to them. More power to them, I say.
Art is very important, and I always
Absolutely.
as we end the show, and I always say this on one of my other shows I do. I'm just a huge part of the artist. I think no matter if it's dance, painting, singing, songwriting, musicianship, acting, I want that in our schools still, folks. They say
Yes.
that in school, when they have arts in school, it actually helps with writing, reading, math, sciences, blah
Of
blah blah.
course it does.
It
Of
does.
course it does. It's crazy to remove creativity from schools. It's insane. And
I
and also phys ed and things like that. It's like it's ridiculous.
need that stuff, and so I just want
You absolutely need to. Yeah,
and,
I agree. 100%.
and please, people, support the artists out there. Support your local artists, not just big names. They're great. We love them, but there's a local play in your playhouse.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, or a free concert in the park.
Yeah,
Go to it. I mean, seriously, there's a
I
lot
know.
out there, right? There's so much talent out there that's just, like you said, are good. They're good.
They're very good, and they're doing it because they are passionate about it, There's just not that much money in it anymore. There are for a few. It's like our culture these days. There's the really wealthy and the really not so wealthy. But with creativity, it's about passion and just doing what it is you love because that's what fulfills you. You don't become you don't get into art for the money. You get into it for the love. And if it ends up that you make some money out of it, more power to you. But it's about passion and creativity and love and expression and all these human qualities that we all possess.
Yeah.
Whether you actually get the opportunity to do it or you are the audience,
Yes.
there's a reason, there's a place for it.
I love that. Katherine,
Yeah.
thank you so much. You are a
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It was fun. Thank you for
let's come
having
let's come
me.
back on another time. So tell people if they want to find you out there.
Yeah. Yes, I'm on all the social media. Facebook under Catherine Mary Stewart. I'm old, so I'm still on Facebook.
I am too, girl. I am too, girl.
Yeah, yeah. But I think it's connected somehow to Instagram. I don't even know how that works, but I think it is. And everything's under Catherine Mary Stewart. I also have a website, catherinemarystewart.com. And I even have an email that people can get in touch with me on at info@catherinemarystewart.com. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm out there,
Out there.
look for
Out there.
me.
Look for her. Hire her, folks. Offer some jobs, some acting jobs. Hire. She's there. She's for hire. Right. Hire her.
So,
I'll say it out
hire
loud.
me.
She's ready.
Yeah,
She's ready. I love
I'm
it.
ready. I'm prepared.
Yes. I'm James Lott Jr., and I'm filling in for Doug Hess. This is his show, Forgotten Hollywood, our number one show on my network. It's such a huge hit because we accent Hollywood. And these great
Yeah.
stories like Captain Mary's, these great stories. And I just want to thank all the listeners and the viewers and the supporters who just, I mean, I see the numbers every week, and I'm just, as the CEO of the company, I'm just like flabbergasted. I'm
Yeah.
gobsmacked.
No.
I'm actually silent. I talk a lot. No, actually, I'm silent. So I just want to say, like she
Now
said
that
earlier,
is saying something
saying
if you're
something.
silenced.
I'm silent. But like she said earlier, we can't do this without you. So I just want to thank you for your continued support for
Yeah.
shows like this. We wouldn't be here without you. So Forgotten Hollywood's on Facebook. Check it out there. And we'll talk to you next time. 1 second. Oh, there we go.